everybody. This is Coach Joey Brockoff, and welcome to This Week in Slidell. And now let's move on to the high school gridiron. All right, let's start off with girls soccer. The Slidell Lady Tigers. On Wednesday, they dropped their game with E.D. White 2-1. On Friday, they lost to Terrebonne 4-2, but they bounced back Saturday by shutting out Everett 6-0. The North Shore Lady Panthers on Tuesday tied Newman, and on Friday, they defeated Mount Carmel 3-1. The Salmon Lady Spartans, they dropped 2 games this week, losing to Franklinton 5-2 on Tuesday, and losing to Covington 7-2 on Thursday. And the Pope John Paul Lady Jags, they split their games this week, losing to Episcopal 3-1 on Wednesday and defeating Ursuline 9-1 on Friday. Not many games this week. Slidell will host St. Charles on Friday, and on Saturday, Pope John Paul will host Chappelle and North Shore will host Dominican. And in high school boys soccer, the Slidell Tigers tied Chalmette on Monday. On Wednesday, they were shut out by St. Paul's 7-0, and they tied Terrebonne 1-1 on Friday. The North Shore Panthers, on Tuesday, they defeated Lakeshore 5-1, and on Friday, they tied Denham Springs 1-1. The Salmon Spartans, they defeated Franklinton 6-0 on Tuesday, and on Thursday, they lost to Covington 8-0. And the Pope John Paul Jaguars on Wednesday defeated Fontainebleau 1-0, but dropped their game to Kenner Discovery on Friday 1-0. This week on Monday, the Slidell Tigers will travel to the Willow School. And on Saturday, Pope John Paul will host Country Day. And North Shore will play Denham Springs in the Ascension Christian Tournament. And in girls basketball action, the Slidell Lady Tigers won both their games this week, defeating De La Salle on Tuesday 61-48 and Chappelle on Friday 45-36. The North Shore Lady Panthers lost both their games this week, losing to Chalmette 44-39 and then losing to Admit on Thursday 65-36. The Salmon Lady Spartans opened up district this week. Their district opener was against Lakeshore, and they dropped that game 44-35, but they came back on Friday to defeat SSA 58-44. The Pope John Paul Lady Jaguars on Monday defeated McGehee 50-26, but dropped their game to Riverdale on Thursday 44-41, and they dropped their game Friday to Pine 44-39. And First Baptist lost their game to Covenant Christian 47-13. This week on Monday, North Shore will travel to Hammond. On Tuesday, Slidell hosts Fontainebleau, and First Baptist will host Crescent City. On Friday, Pope John Paul travels to Grace King, and First Baptist will host Mentorship Academy. And high school boys basketball. The Slidell Tigers started off the week with a game against Sophie B. Wright, and they lost that game 52-37, but then they went to the Chalmette tournament and defeated West Jeff 57-50 and defeated Chalmette 51-40. The North Shore Panthers won 3 games this week, defeating Chalmette 54-39, defeating Pope John Paul 64-41, and defeating Bonneville 54-45. The Salmon Spartans only had 1 game this week. They defeated St. Olaf on Thursday 74-69. The Pope John Paul Jaguars started off the week by defeating Abramson 55-46, but then dropped their games to North Shore 64-41, dropped their game to Pine 61-43, and on Saturday lost to Episcopal 58-48. And First Baptist lost their game with Covenant Christian 32-25. This week on Monday, Slidell will host East Jefferson. And on Tuesday, Slidell will travel to Bonneville. On Friday, Slidell will go crosstown to Salmon. Pope John Paul will travel to Grace King, and North Shore will host Martin Luther King. And on Saturday, Salmon will host St. Paul's. Pope John Paul is at Patrick Taylor, and North Shore will host Lakeview. And that's all the action we got for this week. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and this is Coach Joey Brokoff, and I'll see you at the ballpark.